You guys are watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, and with the trade deadline well and truly over, it really is draft season here. So it is time, perhaps a bit overdue, for my latest 2023 NFL mock draft, the order based on the official NFL order. So don't yell at me if you don't like where your team is ranked. Tell them to win more games. We begin at number 1. Houston Texans taking Bryce Young, the Alabama quarterback, which I'm on board with. I do think Bryce Young is the best of the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. A lot of time still to go. I have some concerns about C.J. Stroud, even more about Will Levis. Young is an outlier in terms of size, but I'm kind of out on Davis Mills. I think it's reasonable to say these are your likely options for the first position drafted. QB for quarterback, O for other, which is probably edge or defensive line in Will Anderson, Jalen Carter. Make those predictions. Whoever gets the number 1 overall pick, are they going QB or somewhere else? Panthers right now at number 2, will give them C.J. Stroud. I'm not going to have the Ohio State can't produce quarterbacks conversation. I hate that conversation. Also, Justin Fields looks kind of good right now. There are very valid concerns, though, about C.J. Stroud, especially when he has to play outside of structure, when things aren't going super easy. But there is some talent there, and he's very much type, and Carolina has to find a franchise QB at some point. The Raiders at number 3, since Chandler Jones is still MIA, I'm going to go Will Anderson, who has not had as productive of a year so far, but is still a very highly touted edge rusher out of Alabama. He and Max Crosby would be a dynamic 1-2 punch, and then you figure what to do with Chandler Jones at some point. This name might surprise you. Fashanu, the Penn State offensive tackle, I'm going to throw out a very aggressive player comp, but it makes sense. Tyron Smith, the Cowboys' longtime left tackle. He's 19 years old. He does not turn 20 until December. He could be an NFL prospect, much like Tyron Smith was, and not be allowed to drink for much of his first season. I'm not a big Dan Moore fan. Pittsburgh needs some more offensive line help. Olafashanu is not a perfect prospect, but coming in the year, he had 1 start, and he has been awesome so far this year for Penn State. Did get beat one time against Ohio State in kind of ugly fashion. There is a lot to like there. And this offensive tackle class, by the way, is looking a lot better than what I was concerned it was going to look like before the year began. Number 5, out of Georgia to the Detroit Lions, Kelee Ringo, who has great size and traits, not quite the perfect prospect either, but there's a lot to like there with him. And Jeff Okudah looks pretty good, by the way, this year too for the Lions. That's a great 1-2 punch for a defense that still very much needs the help. That's our top 5. More picks coming, and we're doing one for every team, by the way. So if you don't have a first-round pick, we got you covered still with some second and the 1/3 round pick for the Niners. But first, who is your favorite 2023 NFL draft prospect? Any player, who do you love the most? Head down to the pinned comment and answer it right there, especially if the ad comes here while you're watching on YouTube. Number 6, Jalen Carter, the Georgia defensive tackle. Production has been down. I thought about him as early as number 3. Jags don't have that dynamic 3 technique. There he is in Carter. Philadelphia would love Jalen Carter with Fletcher Cox, Hargrave, etc., free agents. But I'm going to give them Bryan Bresee, the Clemson defensive tackle. Entering this year, he's always been kind of a traits-based prospect, showing some more production this year. There are some nice defensive linemen, edge and DT, in this year's class. Number 8, Paris Johnson for the Packers out of Ohio State. He's made the move successfully over to left tackle. I like what Johnson's able to do. And again, it's a better O-line class than what I thought it was going to be. And Johnson fits their measurables, what Green Bay likes, much more than, say, Peter Skoronski, who we'll get to in a moment. The Bears, thought about receiver, don't love the class. O-line's playing better. Their defense, though, is struggling, especially without Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith. Here's another Clemson defensive lineman, edge rusher Myles Murphy, having a nice bit of a breakout year. Going to test well at the combine. I like this fit for Chicago. Good 4-3 defensive end. Arizona has like 1 or 2 linemen under contract next year. Skoronski, the number 10 overall pick here out of Northwestern. Much like Bryce Young, there are very real size concerns at this point. He is going to come in with very short arms. That will scare teams off. He might not be able to play tackle. I'd give him a shot first there. If not, I think he's going to be a long-time starter at guard in the NFL. Today's edition of NFL Daily is sponsored by Established Titles. Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on the historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Eddleston, Scotland, and an official certificate complete with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted, and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. You could officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, etc. It makes a great last-minute gift. And the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many you want to become a lord or lady, we can build our own little NFL Daily kingdom. It makes an amazing last-minute gift, and Established Titles is actually running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. And if you use the code CHAT, C-H-A-T, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and support the channel. That link and promo code will be in both the comments section and in the description of today's mock draft. To Seattle, number 11 overall. I thought about quarterback, but Geno's been really good. And this pick, by the way, is from the Broncos. The Eagles pick was from the Saints from trades last year / Russell Wilson. In this case, I want a dynamic linebacker, an edge who can do a lot of things for you. Blitz, run, stop, cover for Seattle. He and Jordan Brooks, really fun 1-2 punch. Number 12, the Detroit Lions. This pick actually via the LA Rams. You go defense at number 5. I thought about Will Levis here. My mindset is if you weren't going to take him at 5 in your Detroit, then you're probably not going to take him at 12 either because that's not how teams do business. You traded away to TJ Hawkinson, which is weird. Michael Mayer is my pick. And he's not the fastest or the strongest, but he's good at football. I don't care what he runs as long as it's not like a 5-second 40-yard dash. He has been a highly, highly impactful playmaker and often carries that Notre Dame passing offense. Number 13, Houston Texans go to the in-state. Texas Tech's Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher. Not a household name. He is very well liked by the powers that be within the NFL. Keep an eye on him as a round 1 pick. That pick via the Browns, by the way. Number 14, Will Levis to the Colts. I will make note that when I do my mock drafts, it's not based on what I would do. It's based on what I think NFL teams are, because I'm trying to give you insight into who NFL organizations are looking at right now, because scouting is ongoing throughout the year. Levis has the arm, the athletic ability, and the accuracy. The progressions are not going great at this point. I've got Levis not as a first-round prospect right now for myself. Still time there. New offense impacting things. But his traits will get him drafted a lot earlier than I would take him personally. Of the big 3 quarterback prospects this year, who's the best one? CJ for CJ Stroud, BY for Bryce Young, WL for Will Levis. Pick one of those 3 in the comments right now. Number 15, the Colorado transfer, Christian Gonzalez, now at Oregon. Teams not throw at him, a clear sign of how they feel about him there. Gonzalez and A.J. Terrell is an awesome 1-2 punch, and I would love to see it in Atlanta. Back-to-back corners here, especially with William Jackson being a bust. Joey Porter Jr., yes, that is Joey Porter's kid. He plays corner, though, not linebacker. Great size, speed combo. I mentioned that the OT class is better. DeJuan Jones has played really well at right tackle for Ohio State. Isaiah Wynn can't get on the field. Producer Jack doesn't like the pick. He says, such a Bill pick, Producer Jack says. Cool, then I did a good job. That's our Patriots fan, Producer Jack. Cam Smith, the South Carolina corner to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't want to be mean to Eli Apple, but yeah, that's just kind of where we're at in Cincinnati. Add some more cornerback help there. Makes a lot of sense. Rest of the picks coming up, but first, if you want more NFL draft videos, then subscribe. Free videos every single day right here on NFL Daily, and yes, plenty of NFL draft coverage coming this year. Let's put Brian Branch in here, who I don't think he played well against LSU, but that's a bit of an outlier game so far. He fits what Alabama likes to do, or the Bucs like to do with that extra safety, able to play some nickel, some strong. Not much of a free safety, but more of that flex piece around the box. Branch is one of the better Bama defensive prospects this year. Number 20, Osiris Torrance out of Florida. If you want a mauling, run-blocking right guard, this is your guy. Denver now back in the first round. Thought about some offensive tackle help, but I got Torrance in there at number 20 because I love the way he run blocks, and I feel like Denver's going to want to do that despite what Russ might want. Number 21, the Chargers, Darnell Washington. Brock Bowers not eligible. Eric Gilbert can't get on the field very much. Washington, though, he looks like an NBA player with the way he carries his frame. Massive human, heavy weight, but doesn't look heavy. He looks lean and strong. Good run blocker. Gives the Chargers another option to help out Justin Herbert as well. Our first receiver here, which I know some Patriots fans probably wanted a receiver, but they don't draft receivers that early super often. Plus, they just took Tyquan Thornton, Parker, Myers, etc. Jordan Addison goes to Tennessee here. This receiving class is not bad, but I think the depth comes not early on, not in the top 15. It'll come more late round 1, early day 2, and into day 3. Addison's a bit undersized, but he has been highly productive, those of you brave enough to watch Pac-12 After Dark this year. Who do you think will end up being the first wide receiver drafted this year? Is it Jordan Addison, or maybe a name we'll get to here in a little bit on today's mock draft? Number 23, Jared Verse, who had a breakout year before getting a bit banged up for FSU after transferring from a very small level there. Verse is an edge rusher that fits a need for what Seattle has right now. I think it's a good option for Seattle. Here's Broderick Jones, who's still a bit more traits than production at offensive tackle, but the Jets can no longer trust Mekhi Becton. Getting some more help there makes a lot of sense for New York. One of my favorite prospects this year is Quentin Johnston. I kind of see some skinny Dez Bryant in his game with the way he attacks the ball and makes plays after the catch. I would love him in Baltimore or even in New York. Both teams need receivers, and I got Jackson Smith and Jigba going to the Giants here. Route runner fits what the Giants tend to like. He and Wandale could be a fun 1-2 punch at wide receiver. But I also know that JSN's been hurt and banged up. So we'll have to see what happens on that front in terms of where his draft stock actually falls. Bijan Robinson, the Texas running back. I had a tough time finding where I was going to plug him in. Teams don't take running backs that early. This is a potential top 10 talent there. With Ezekiel Elliott's future up in the air and Tony Pollard a free agent, wouldn't Bijan to Dallas make a lot of sense? Nolan Smith, I don't know what's going to happen here. This is kind of my wild card pick. It's a rich get richer selection. Teams love the traits, the athletic ability, the upside, but he also is coming off injury and probably won't play this year. Does he go back? Does he go pro? A lot of uncertainty there, but the upside makes him appealing to pair with George Karlaftis, two very different styles of edge rusher. Number 29, Clark Phillips, the third out of Utah. He's probably a nickel. Teams will ding him for his size. I don't care. He's good at playing football and good at covering. Kind of like Roger McCreary last year out of Auburn, like his fit in Minnesota. Antonio Johnson to Buffalo. Some safety uncertainty long-term with contracts coming up there. Johnson plays in the box and has done a great job for A&M when healthy. And then Army gets a first-round pick, Andre Carter. Now, Carter has not been as productive this year, and that has dinged him in the eyes of evaluators, but he was awesome last year, and he has got great size, and Philly is looking for more defensive lineup with some key free agents after this season. Some picks for the teams not drafting in round 1 coming up, but grade the first round of our mock draft first. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments. Hendon Hooker, number 41 to the Saints here, which I think our Saints fan Trace will like. Hooker is old. He's actually older than Justin Herbert. Let that sink in for a second. He plays in it's a great college offense. It's not a great NFL-styled offense. There are concerns, plus the age. He'll need some time to adjust and really make full-field reads, but athletic ability, decent arm, there's enough to like there for one of the Heisman Trophy favorites this season. Zach Harrison has not had great production at Ohio State. Watch what he does at the Combine. I put him here because I want you to watch what he does at the Combine. He will blow it up. Sika, the Baylor defensive tackle. The Browns need help in the middle of their defensive line. Here's a great run stopper who does bring a little bit of pass rush value. Luke Weipler, the Ohio State center, just for my boy Will Scott, who really wants a centerpiece, and Brown to think is probably about right for maybe the top center prospect this year. Andrew Voorhees out of USC, I think could play tackle or guard in the NFL. A bit of an older prospect, helps him slide down to barely the top 100, and the Niners need more offensive line help. Before we go, who did I leave off of our 2023 NFL mock draft? There's a lot of different names that I would have loved to squeak in there, but only got so many picks. So drop a name for me that I'm going to give you some of my own in the comments right now. Quick, here's some names I like. Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, and Kayshon Boutte, or Booty this year. He's not been very good. Receivers, I like. Hyatt's been a massive breakout player. Downs has been awesome, part of a really good UNC passing game. Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, I'm a big fan of, but it is telling that outside of Bryce Young, no Bama players in the first round on offense. Not the same Bama offense we're used to. Defensively, Noah Sewell has not been a playmaker this year, kind of knocks him down a little bit. FAU, the Kansas State edge rusher, because Felix and DK Uzama, good player, probably a top 50 guy, just like Isaiah Foskey at Notre Dame, who I like a lot. And Emmanuel Forbes, a bit of a freelancer at corner, but has the size and production that teams like at that position.